Chapter 1, I Will Avenge You. For you, I am willing to transform into an Asura. A boy of 17 or 18 years old, with long black hair hanging around his shoulders, eyes like stars, full of sadness and murderous intent, and a face as determined as a knife, with an alienating coldness. The white robe on his body has been stained red with blood, and more than a dozen wounds of different lengths are crisscrossed on his back, and Bobo's blood is still flowing. He held a girl in his arms. She had long golden hair, a petite figure, and a pretty palm-sized face. She was as beautiful as a princess in a fairy tale. Her eyes were closed, and she looked very peaceful. However, a hideous wound at the heart was very dazzling. After careful inspection, she realized that the girl had stopped breathing. The boy held the girl in his arms and stood on the edge of a steep cliff, watching the girl with fascination. After a while, the young man raised his head and looked up at the deep night sky, pointed the long sword in his hand at the mysterious night sky, and softly uttered a sentence filled with infinite killing. For you, I am willing to transform into an Asura. It's a pity that you don't have that chance. A masked man wearing a black robe and a black scarf, holding a red and blue broad-bladed sword in his right hand, suddenly appeared behind the young man. 10 years from now, blood debt will be paid with blood. The young man didn't even turn his head. After saying this in a deep voice, he lowered his head and glanced at the girl in his arms. With a determined look in his eyes, he hugged the girl's body and jumped off the cliff. Alas, I hope you won't die, because what I did in the beginning was wrong. The masked man in black robe looked at the bottomless cliff, sighed, and murmured in a low voice. Then he turned around and disappeared into the darkness. 6 years later, in the killing canyon of the starry sky continent, the black-haired boy was fighting a red blood dragon, full of killing and evil aura. Boom. Oh. The blood dragon knocked the black-haired boy away with one punch, flopped the pair of huge flesh wings behind it, and hovered in the air, mocking the black-haired boy. Wahaha! He held his forehead with his left hand and held the sword in his right hand. A burst of wild laughter came from the young man's mouth. The young man smiled and suddenly roared at the blood dragon. It's this tone and this expression again. I just can't stand it. I can't stand your so-called holy places. So, what about the holy places? I will kill you today. The blood dragon in the sky seemed to have heard a big joke and laughed. Haha, pathetic humans, they're all ants in the sanctuary. You can't even block my casual blow, and you still want to kill me, huh? After saying that, the coercion of the blood dragon's sanctuary emitted and moved toward the black-haired boy. Under the pressure of the holy domain that despised everything, the blood dragon's tyrannical momentum caused the black-haired boy to bend his knees and slowly kneel to the ground. Get up. But the black-haired boy relied on his tenacious will to force his body to stand up slowly, without succumbing to the pressure emanating from the blood dragon. Huh? Kneel down for me. Looking at the black-haired boy on the ground who did not succumb to his pressure, the blood dragon felt depressed and angry, so it increased its momentum, hoping that this would make the black-haired boy kneel on the ground. Unfortunately, even if the blood dragon did this, the black-haired boy would still hold his long sword to support his trembling body and prevent himself from falling. Hee. The blood dragon smiled and looked at the young man who refused to give in under his own pressure and praised. You are very good. You are the first human being in the holy realm who cannot fall under my pressure. Even the strong men in the human holy realm cannot persist for so long under my pressure. Therefore, let me give you a good time. Call out. After saying that, the blood dragon spread its wings, flew high into the sky, raised its head, and opened its big mouth. The red fire magic elements floating in the nearby space quickly converged towards the blood dragon's open mouth, forming a dazzling red sun in the sky. The black-haired boy took advantage of the blood dragon's ultimate move to gather energy, relax his tense nerves, and slowly close his tired eyes. The figure of the blonde girl with a smile as warm as the sun appeared in his mind. Seeing the smiling figure of the girl, the cold, handsome, expressionless face of the black-haired boy finally changed. Unconsciously, he raised the corners of his mouth slightly, revealing a smile. It turns out that the ice cube-like black-haired boy is pretty good-looking when he smiles. However, when the black-haired boy remembered that the girl had been killed by those mysterious men in black clothes and masked faces, he left a vow: 10 years later, blood debt will be paid with blood. But now, he is going to be buried here, and the black-haired boy's consciousness is gradually shrouded in sadness, anger, unwillingness, and other emotions. Fighting energy that was as bright red as blood began to appear on his body. As the black-haired boy's mood changed, the fighting energy that was as bright red as blood and enveloped his body became thicker and more solid. "Hey, Ice Cube, those butterflies are beautiful. Can you catch one for me?" "Hey, Ice Cube, that flower is beautiful. Can you pick one for me?" "Hey, Ice Cube, your clothes are damaged. Take them off and I'll mend them for you." "Hey, Ice Cube, it's time to eat. If you don't come back, Uncle Paul will eat all the food." "Hey, Ice Cube, this little bunny is very cute. Can we not eat it?" "Hey, Ice Cube, do you like me?" "Well, Ice Cube, I love you too." "Ice Cube, I'm about to die. You have to promise me that you will live well and find a good girl to live happily for the rest of your life." "Hey, Ice Cube, you look really nice when you smile. You have to smile more in the future, otherwise you'll get older." "Ice Cube, bye." Roar. Boom. With a roar mixed with angry roars, a column of liquid fighting energy as bright red as blood rose from the ground and shot straight into the sky. A sacred pressure that despised everything like a blood dragon suddenly descended and enveloped the killing canyon. What? A breakthrough. Looking at the liquid fighting energy column unique to the Saint Realm strongman, the blood dragon was shocked. It did not expect that the black-haired boy would break through the 9th level of shackles and advance to the Saint Realm at this critical moment of life and death. Therefore, he accelerated the gathering of fire elements, and the large number of red fire elements gathered were as thick as the tide in the sea, rendering the killing canyon with a bloody sky even more bloody and terrifying. Fire Dragon Blood Sun. The blood dragon stretched out its 2 dragon claws to hold the small red sun formed by the gathering of fire elements. Then, it waved its dragon claw and threw the little red sun toward the location where the column of bloody liquid fighting energy erupted below the killing canyon. "I can't die yet. I still have revenge to take, so you can only die." At this time, a whisper came from the Do-Chi column, and the figure of the black-haired boy popped out of the blood-colored liquid Do-Chi column, soared into the air, and rushed toward the small red sun formed by the gathering of fire elements thrown by the blood dragon. "Xiaoying, for you, I am willing to transform into Asura. Asura Dao, fallen Dao to you." After the black-haired boy popped out of the blood-colored Do-Chi column, he let out a low roar. The long black hair hanging on his shoulders gradually turned bright red, and his eyes, as deep as stars, were also covered with a layer of blood. His whole body was shrouded in blood-colored liquid fighting energy, and his whole body was like a blood-soaked Shura rushing out of hell. Chong. The long sword was sheathed, and the black-haired boy put the long sword in his hand back into the scabbard in midair, but still holding the sword hilt in his right hand, facing the small red sun of the fire element not far away from him. "Asura, live and die without regrets." Base. With a clanging sound of gold and iron, the black-haired boy pulled out the long sword from behind, and with a flash of dazzling blood-colored brilliance, with a swish sound, he swung his sword to tear apart the little red sun of the fire element that rushed in front of him. Then, with undiminished power, he passed through the small red sun of the fire element that was torn in half by him and rushed towards the blood dragon in the sky at a faster speed. Boom! There was an explosion, and the small red sun of the fire element that was torn in half by the black-haired boy exploded under him, blooming into a dazzling elemental flower in midair. Hee hee, this is fun. You're trying to take advantage of me. Looking at the black-haired boy who rushed towards him after severing the fire element red sun of his ultimate move, Fire Dragon Blood Sun, with one sword, the blood in the blood dragon's originally playful attitude began to boil. After all, it was unimaginable before that a newly promoted sanctuary strongman could break through its special skills with violence. But today, he encountered one, and he had to fight seriously. Taking up the liquid dark red Do Chi on his body, the blood dragon also burst out a column of liquid dark red Do Chi soaring into the sky. On the starry sky continent, all the dragons are magicians and martial arts practitioners. Therefore, there is no need to be confused by the fact that the blood dragon can use magic as well as fighting spirit. This time, countless magic elements, as thick as the tide, gathered towards the blood dragon. However, this time, all the black and dark magic elements gathered. The dark red liquid fighting spirit mixed with the gathered black dark elements, turning into a dragon head-shaped black energy wave, spiraling around the blood dragon's right arm. The dragon head-shaped black energy wave opened its mouth and let out a long roar like a real dragon. Evil Dragon's soul-breaking fist. Looking at the black-haired boy rushing in front of him, the blood dragon roared angrily and threw out a punch. The wind roared and hit the black-haired boy hard. The dragon head-shaped black energy wave on his right arm also blasted out. Z. Bang. Fight. As soon as he returned, he left, followed by a violent energy explosion, and a brilliant brilliance bloomed in the air. After a sword blow, the young man had appeared behind the blood dragon. A huge sword mark extended from the blood dragon's left shoulder to the right abdomen, and the bright red dragon's blood continued to flow like a flood. The blood dragon looked at the huge wounds on his body in surprise, muttering in disbelief, "This is impossible. This is impossible. This is impossible." Poof! With a roar that was almost like a roar, he spurted out a mouthful of blood. The blood dragon's huge body swayed twice in the air and fell down from the air. The black-haired boy was still standing in midair, with halos of faint soul appearing on his body. Looking at the soul halo emitting from his body, the black-haired boy gave a bitter smile, and his eyes suddenly showed the desire for life, and he said unwillingly, "Haha, soul attack. Xiaoying, I'm sorry. I can't avenge you." He closed his eyes unwillingly, and in an instant, the circles of soul halo radiating from the black-haired boy suddenly spread from his body and dissipated between heaven and earth. Then, the long sword held by the black-haired boy fell off and fell to the ground, and his body began to shake in midair, teetering on the edge of collapse. Whoosh! At this time, with a whooshing sound, another soul invisible to the naked eye flew over from outside the killing canyon in the distance, and suddenly hit the body of the black-haired boy who was teetering in midair and instantly merged into the black-haired boy's body. Call out. Slowly opening his closed eyes, a ray of light flashed through the eyes of the black-haired boy, and his swaying body stopped shaking and floated steadily in the air. Brother, I, Zhao Feng, never thought that I would be resurrected with your body, but don't worry, the black-haired boy said to himself while moving his body in midair. I will not occupy your body in vain. I will avenge you. Huh. I don't know what happened, but the black-haired boy who had stopped shaking and stood firmly in the air suddenly started shaking again, and its body began to fall toward the ground. At this time, Zhao Feng, who was resurrected by the body of the black-haired boy, checked his body and looked up to the sky and howled. Damn, I don't have any fighting spirit anymore. Whoosh. After howling, there was a whooshing sound, and like the black-haired boy rushing up to the sky with an indomitable momentum, Zhao Feng fell from the sky without looking back. By the way, why is this soul, Zhao Feng, resurrected through the body of the black-haired boy? This is a long story. Chapter 2 Reasons. It turns out that Zhao Feng is 20 years old this year and is one of the 5 good young people in the new era of China on Earth in the 21st century. He had just finished the college entrance examination and was playing excitedly at home, a large-scale online game that he had abandoned for 3 years in order to study, Dungeon Fighter. This game was particularly popular when Zhao Feng was in junior high school. Even today, 3 years after high school, it still has unlimited appeal, and Zhao Feng is a diehard player of this game. 3 years ago, Zhao Feng had already played game characters such as sharpshooters, priests, magicians, knight messengers, and fighters. Now, the character in the game he is playing is a ghost swordsman, a professional Asura who has awakened once and advanced to the great dark sky. Zhao Feng is becoming more and more fond of playing the ghost swordsman. Although the ghost swordsman does not have the cool guns of the sharpshooter, the burly body of the priest, the gorgeous attacks of the magician, the handsome face of the knight messenger, and the superb physical skills of the fighter. Some of them are just silhouettes fighting alone, some are just ghost hands that are feared by others, and some are just spirits fighting silently in the darkness for the future of mankind. They will not get a moment of peace until the moment they die in battle. Otherwise, even when they are sleeping, they will still be entangled in the nightmare of fate and cannot get a moment of peace. They don't have the ordinary life of normal people, they don't have friends to chat with, and they don't have heartwarming love. What they have is just waving the long sword in their hands in a deserted place, fighting bloody battles alone for the little warmth in their hearts that is unknown and supports them from being eroded by ghosts and gods. As the book says, love is not necessarily possession. Silent protection is also a kind of love. The girl's innocent smile sometimes also supports them in not giving up easily, even if they know that the smile will never belong to them and they will not care. Because the highest state of love is not possession, but silent longing. They want to protect that smile, even if they risk their own lives. They are fearless warriors. They are proud ghost swordsmen. They have a tenacious will, and they have an aura that refuses to admit defeat. Even the temptations of ghosts and gods cannot make them surrender. Zhao Feng is an orphan and has suffered a lot in the past. At a young age, he has gained many insights into the ways of the world. After experiencing too much bitterness and warmth and seeing too much intrigue, he was tired and tired. At this time, he was adopted by a kind-hearted old man and lived a relatively warm life. But later, the old man fell ill and died, leaving him with a lonely life. What is not available in reality can be obtained in the game, so he began to indulge in the game and start another life. He can't make friends in reality, but he can make many in the game. He doesn't feel lonely in the game. He feels very happy. That's the life he wants. The ghost swordsman is very similar to him in reality. He regrets why he didn't notice the game character, who is so similar to him. If he had noticed earlier, he would have always chosen to be the ghost swordsman in the game, because that is who he is in the game and in reality. No, after playing Ghost Swordsman for 2 months, Zhao Feng relied on his gaming talent and infinite perseverance to reach the full level of the First Awakening. As long as he completes the job transfer task, he can proceed to the Second Awakening. However, he is extremely depressed now. Why? Because he had a task that he had been struggling with for a long time, and he was so depressed that he almost vomited blood. Oh, what mission is it, you ask? Brother, what do you think the Asura people are doing when they get stuck and vomit blood? Of course, it is the mission of the ultimate wave blade lost by GSD. Asura's ultimate magic weapon is the weapon that Asura players dream of. It's a pity that not only Zhao Feng, but also many Asura players have only heard of its name but have never seen its form. Especially the mission of GSD's Lost Ultimate Wave Blade. It is really stuck to the point of vomiting blood. However, fate played a trick on people. Just when Zhao Feng had no hope and was about to give up, an ultimate wave blade lost by GSD fell from the sky. Well, of course, this sword falling from the sky has an owner. However, what depresses Zhao Feng is that one of Asura's ultimate magic weapons fell into the hands of a devil cry. This makes Zhao Feng, who is known as the king of ghost sword Shura, extremely embarrassed. The plot requires it and does not conform to the game content. I hope everyone can understand. Therefore, Zhao Feng found Devil May Cry, the son of hell, and made a declaration of war. He used an epic weapon he had always treasured called the Dark Angel Giant Blade that was not inferior to the ultimate wave blade lost by GSD. The Son of Hell is also a very arrogant game master. He has long wanted to compete with Xiao Feng, but he has never had the chance. How could he not seize the opportunity that came to him now? At the same time, some well-known players from Xiao Feng's district also came to join in the fun and do justice to the game. Among them are the best of the other two professions of ghost swordsman, Sword Soul, the descendant of Aegon Zhua and Quangzhan, crazy for the love of my son. These two guys are both well-known fighting madmen. They have fought against Xiao Feng twice before, and they had some disputes. However, both of them have good character and are trustworthy people. So, a big war began. Xiao Feng and the Son of Hell are both masters who have awakened to the full level at one time. One is the Great Dark Sky, and the other is the Soul Killer. The battle between the two of them was like a dark sky and a black earth, with no light from the sun and the moon, shocking the world, and making ghosts and gods weep. The two of them tried their best, and no one took advantage of the other. However, everyone watching the battle was so happy that they were exhausted. The two's superb skill control, accurate timing of skill release, gorgeous and dazzling equipment, and skilled character operation, etc., all made everyone look at them and make their blood boil. Especially the descendant of Aegon Zhua and the one who is crazy about his beloved son. His eyes are glowing green, and he is sharpening his sword. After Xiao Feng and the Son of Hell are finished fighting, they will go up and have a good fight. The fight between Xiao Feng and the Son of Hell was inseparable. As the battle progressed, Xiao Feng became more and more frightened. It seems that this Son of Hell was able to obtain the ultimate wave blade lost by GSD. It was not just luck. If he had no strength, this Asura's ultimate artifact would not have fallen into his hands. However, although this Son of Hell is powerful, Xiao Feng's strength is not just blown away. The title of King Ghost Sword Shira is not for nothing. The pause moment, to put it bluntly, is the moment when the game character moves stiffly after using the skill. Xiao Feng has done a lot of research on this. This is also the experience he has gained over the years. No matter what game it is or what character it is, there is such a weakness that is not a weakness. Xiao Feng can be regarded as a gambler. He just added a bunch of auxiliary skills to himself and drank several bottles of special potions obtained from completing tasks to adjust himself to the best condition. Prepared to withstand the devil-may-cry of the Son of Hell, the ultimate skill for awakening in the second turn, summon the seventh ghost and god, the furious evil god, Borash. Looking at the children of Hell on the monitor screen, who are successively performing summoning techniques of gods and ghosts, Xiao Feng's mouth slightly turned up, revealing a sneer, because the show he was looking forward to was about to take place. Gulyalu Grillen. Roar! Double shadows for alternating formations, 6 ghosts and gods emitting 6 kinds of light, appeared one after another, circling around the Son of Hell. The filthy one is like a swamp flowing from hell, and the mooring one flows out from the cracked ground, constantly turning over in the boiling water. With a deafening roar, a dragon-like, ferocious giant beast had burst out of the swamp with the force of soaring into the sky. It used the mandible of its huge, ferocious beast head to press down hard and hit the ground, generating a powerful energy shockwave that could return everything to nothingness, destroying everything. Looking at the powerful, nearly invincible seventh ghost and god, the evil god Boresu, Xiao Feng suddenly had the urge to change his career. For nothing else, just for this cool and deadly skill, it's worth it no matter how much hardship you endure. Thanks to the special potions obtained from the mission, Xiao Feng finally withstood this fatal blow, although the health value HP is about to bottom out. However, Xiao Feng's magic value MP is very sufficient. Coupled with the various auxiliary skills previously applied, Xiao Feng took advantage of the Son of Hell to finish the ultimate move, and he also started to use Asura's ultimate awakening skill Dark Skywave Eye. Call out. The endless realm of darkness shrouded the weak Son of Hell.